Hello, welcome to our channel Learn to Score. In this video, we are going to introduce rational numbers and learn about addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division of rational numbers. I hope you will like the video. Please subscribe to our channel for more videos. Thank you. Cost of a pack of 5 pens is 22 rupees. What is the cost of each pen? We can write the cost of each pen as 22 divided by 5 rupees, right? Cost of each pen is 22 by 5 rupees. Let's say that distance traveled in 10 minutes is 5 kilometers. What is the distance covered in 1 minute? So the distance covered in 1 minute is going to be 5 divided by 10 kilometers, right? This can also be written as distance traveled in 1 minute is half kilometer. The reason is that once you simplify this 5 by 10, this is 1 and this is 2, right? I have divided both the numerator and denominator with number 5. So you get 1 by 2 kilometers, right? Now, as you see here, we have seen three numbers, 22 by 5, 5 by 10, and 1 by 2. These are fractions. That's what you have learned in maybe 4th standard or 5th standard, right? And we said that 5 by 10 and 1 by 2 are called proper fractions because in these fractions, the numerators are smaller than the denominators, right? Whereas 22 by 5 is called improper fraction because the numerator is bigger than the denominator. But this is not what we are looking at. Actually, we are not looking at fractions in this particular chapter. Okay. We are looking at these numbers in a different context. We learnt about natural numbers, whole numbers, and integers, right? In maybe 6th and 7th standards, we have learnt about natural numbers, whole numbers, and integers. Now, the question is, can we express these numbers 22 by 5, 5 by 10, and 1 by 2 as any of these numbers, natural numbers, whole numbers, or integers, right? That is what we want to learn. Before doing that, I would like you to quickly recall what does it mean by natural numbers, what does it mean by integers, what does it mean by whole numbers. Then we can take a look at the rational numbers, right? The numbers that are used to count objects are called natural numbers. For example, you say one ball, two cars, 30 students, 1,000 tigers, 100,000 people, etc. In all these cases, actually, we are counting either people or some objects, right? Or some animals in this case, right? The numbers that are used to count objects, people, or animals, etc. are called natural numbers. Please note this. It means the natural numbers are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and so on. As you see here, the smallest of natural numbers is 1, right? What is the largest of the natural numbers? There is nothing like, there is one largest or last natural number. There is no one greatest or last natural number. It means you can write or count infinitely many natural numbers. If you start counting or start writing these numbers, for your whole life also you may be counting, still you can count many more numbers or you can write many more numbers. So that's what it is about natural numbers. Now I have a question. As you see here, we said that one ball, two cars, 30 students, and so on, right? Similarly, can we represent no birds using natural numbers? Can we say no birds using a number? Here when I say one ball, it means there is one ball, right? Here there are two cars. Similarly, if I say no birds, can you express that as a natural number? The answer is no. For that, we require whole numbers. You see here the natural numbers, right? They are starting from 1 and they can go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on, right? There is no limit to it. When you add 0 to this particular list, then what you have is called whole numbers, right? Whole numbers are the collection of natural numbers and 0 together, right? So let me write the whole numbers. They are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and so on. As you see here, the smallest number of whole numbers is 0, right? This is the smallest number. In the case of natural numbers, 1 is the smallest number, right? And as we have seen with natural numbers, one can write and count infinitely many whole numbers here also. There is no one greatest or the largest natural number. Sorry, whole number also. So one can write infinitely many whole numbers. So now no birds can be expressed as 0 birds. You see, when you have 0 along with natural numbers, you are able to even represent no birds with number 0 birds, right? Now I have another question to you. Can we subtract a larger number from a smaller number? For example, can you subtract number 6 from number 4? Number 6 is the larger number compared to 4, right? Can you subtract a larger number from smaller number? If you only know natural numbers and whole numbers, the answer is no. You cannot subtract. But that is not the reality. Okay. We can subtract a larger number from a smaller number with the help of integers, right? You see here, what I have shown is whole numbers, right? We have 0 and we have all natural numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Now, let me add negative numbers here to the list. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and so on. This whole collection of numbers is called integer numbers. It means integers are having 0, integers are having all positive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on numbers. And integers are also having negative numbers like -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and so on, right? So one can write the integers as shown here. I can start from 0 and read 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on. On the other side, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, and so on. So there is no limit on both the sides. It can go to any of the numbers like -10,000, -20,000, -billion. On this side, it can be +10,000, +20,000, or even billion, right? As you see here, all the negative numbers like -9, -8, -7, and so on are smaller than all the positive integers, right? At the same time, all the negative integers are smaller than 0 also, right? On this, if you go onto the positive side, you will be having bigger and bigger numbers. As you go onto the negative side, you will have smaller and smaller integers, right? So to answer the question, 4 minus 6 is -2. So with the help of integers, we could solve this problem, right? We could subtract a bigger number from a smaller number, right? Now let's go back to the rational numbers. You see, we have seen cost of each pen equal to 22 by 5 rupees, right? And the distance traveled in 1 minute is 5 by 10 kilometers. That we have also said that distance traveled in 1 minute is half kilometer, right? So we have seen natural numbers. They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. And we have seen whole numbers. Those are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. And we have seen integers also. Those are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, and so on, right? The numbers like 22 by 5, 5 by 10, 1 by 2, these numbers do not belong to natural numbers or whole numbers or integers, right? It means we need a different class of numbers to represent the numbers such as 22 by 5, 5 by 10, and half. right? For example, in the case of no birds, we couldn't represent that using natural numbers, right? For that, we had to bring something like 0, which is part of whole number. And when you had to subtract a larger number from a smaller number, we couldn't do with natural numbers and whole numbers, but with the help of integers, we could do it, right? For that, we had to bring in negative numbers like -9, -8, and so on, right? In this particular case, when you have numbers expressed like fractions, 22 by 5, 5 by 10, 1 by 2, and so on, we need a separate class of numbers. That numbers are called rational numbers, right? Now let's learn about rational numbers. Consider more such numbers. We have seen 22 by 5, 5 by 10, of -1 by 2, 1 divided by -3, 100 by 3, 2013 by 2014. All these numbers, if you observe, all these numbers are called rational numbers. We'll see what is the reason for calling them as rational numbers. And another interesting point you can make out here is these numbers are expressed in the form of P by Q, right? Where P and Q are integers. In the case of 22 by 5, 22 is an integer, 5 is an integer, right? In the case of -1 by 2, -1 is an integer and 2 is an integer. In the case of 1 divided by -3, 1 is an integer, -3 is an integer, right? So these numbers are expressed in the form of P by Q, where P and Q are integers. Such numbers, we are calling them as rational numbers, right? Let's see the definition of rational numbers now. The numbers that expressed as P by Q, where P and Q are integers and Q not equal to 0, please note this, Q not equal to 0 are called rational numbers. We know that, if Q becomes 0, then P by 0, or any number by 0, it has no meaning. That's why while defining the rational numbers, we are saying that the number should be in the form of P by Q, where P and Q are integers. At the same time, Q cannot be 0. Okay, such numbers are called rational numbers, right? So rational numbers are denoted using letter Q. Please note this. We can express any natural number as a rational number. For example, 2 is a natural number, right? It can be written as 2 by 1. Now, 2 is an integer and 1 is an integer. For that reason, 2 by 1 is a rational number, right? And we can also write 2 as 4 by 2 also, right? 4 is an integer and 2 is an integer. Their ratio, that's why it is a rational number, right? Similarly, 5 can be written as 5 by 1 or 50 by 10 or 500 by 100. In all these cases, we are expressing 5, which is a natural number, as ratio of two integers. That's why it is a rational number. It means we can express any natural number as a rational number, right? Similarly, we can express whole numbers as rational numbers. When you think about whole numbers, the number first comes to your mind is 0, right? 0 can be written as 0 by 1 or 0 by 2, 0 by 10, 0 by 1000, right? 0 divided by anything is equal to 0, right? Here you see 0 is an integer and 1 is an integer. That's why its ratio is called a rational number, right? It means we can express a whole number like 0 as a rational number, right? Similarly, whole number 3 can be also expressed as a rational number, right? That is 3 by 1 or 15 by 5, right? Or 30 by 10. You can write 300 by 100. You can think about. And 6 can be written as 6 by 1, 120 by 20, 12 by 2, right? In all these cases, what we have done is we have expressed whole numbers as rational numbers, right? Similarly, we can express integers also as rational numbers. 4 is an integer. It can be written as 4 by 1 or 100 by 25, right? Or 40 by 10. So in this case, we have expressed an integer as a rational number, right? You see, minus 4 is an integer. It can be written as minus 4 by 1. In this case, both numerator and denominator are integers. That's why this ratio is called rational number, right? Similarly, minus 4 can be expressed as 4 divided by minus 1, right? 4 is an integer and minus 1 is an integer. You see, minus 4, which is an integer, that was expressed as ratio of two integers p and q. That's why it is called a rational number. Similarly, 0 is an integer. 0 can be written as 0 by 1, 0 by 2, etc. Right? Now, what you have learned is the rational numbers are expressed as p by q, where p and q are integers and q is not equal to 0. That is 1. And we have also learned that any natural number or whole number or an integer can be expressed as a rational number, right? With that in mind, let's see what does it mean by rational numbers further. We learned that the numbers that are used to count objects are called natural numbers, right? They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. When you add 0 to that list of numbers, you call them as whole numbers, right? 0 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 together are called whole numbers. Now, when you add negative numbers like minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4 and so on to the whole numbers, what you get is integers, right? Integers and ratio of integers together are called rational numbers. In the case of integers, you have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on, and minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5 and so on. These are integers, right? But now you can have integers like minus 1, 2, minus 3, and at the same time you can have ratio of integers also together as rational numbers. So what are rational numbers? Integers and ratio of integers are called rational numbers, right? Addition of rational numbers. Let's add 3 by 5 and 6 by 5. 3 by 5 is a rational number because it is a ratio of two integers 3 and 5. 6 by 5 is another rational number because it's a ratio of two integers 6 and 5, right? Here we want to add two rational numbers, 3 by 5 and 6 by 5. That can be written as 3 by 5 plus 6 by 5. We want to find what is the resultant rational number you obtain when you add 3 by 5 and 6 by 5, right? If you observe, the denominator of these two numbers is same, that is 5, right? The denominator is same. In that case, what we can do is, when you add these two numbers, the numerator of the resultant number is going to have the value that is obtained by adding the numerators of both the numbers. Meaning, you have to add numerator of both these numbers to get the numerator of the resultant rational number, right? When it comes to denominator, since it is a common denominator, in both the cases, since it is 5, the denominator of the resultant number is going to be the common denominator, that is 5. So 3 by 5 plus 6 by 5 now can be written as 3 plus 6 divided by 5. We said that the denominator is common denominator and the numerator is going to be obtained by adding the numerators of both the numbers, right? 3 and 6. That's why the numerator is 3 plus 6 and denominator is 5, right? 3 plus 6 equal to 9. That's why we can say that the resultant number is 9 by 5. So to answer the question, 3 by 5 plus 6 by 5 equal to 9 by 5, right? Now let's learn about another problem. Add 5 by 12 and 3 by 8. Both are rational numbers, right? That When you want to add 5 by 12 and 3 by 8, you can write it as 5 by 12 plus 3 by 8. We want to find what is the resultant rational number, right? As you see here, the denominators are different here. In the previous case, the denominators were same. But here denominators are 12 and 8, which are different, right? When denominators are different, the addition is slightly involved. We'll try to understand that now. The denominator of the resultant number, is going to be the LCM of denominators of both the numbers. Meaning it is going to be LCM of 12 and 8. The denominator of the resultant number is going to be the LCM or the least common multiple of 12 and 8. How do we get LCM? We can write multiples of 12, right? Multiples of 12 are 12, 24, 36, 48. 12 is 12 times 1, 24 is 12 times 2, 36 is 12 times 3, and then 48 is 12 times 4. You can write more multiples like that, right? Similarly, I can write multiples of 8. Those are 8, 8 times 1, 16, 8 times 2, 24, 8 times 3, 8 times 4 is 32, and so on, right? Now let's see what are the common multiples. 24 in both the cases, it is there. That's why it is a common multiple. And 48 is another common multiple, right? Similarly, you can get few more, right? But the question is, what is the least common multiple? So the least common multiple of these two is 24 because that is the first common multiple, right? Or the smallest common multiple. That's why we say that least common multiple of 8 and 12 is 24, right? So now we need to express each number given, that is 5 by 12 and 3 by 8, so that their denominator is going to be the LCM, right? That is 24 in this particular case. Meaning we want to express 5 by 12 and 3 by 8 as the numbers that have 24 as the denominator. For that, what are we going to do? 5 by 12 can be written as 5 times 2 divided by 12 times 2. So that, when I multiply numerator and denominator, I'm not changing anything, right? But, I'm getting 24 in the denominator. Because when I multiply both the numerator and denominator with same number, simply we can cancel them, right? Once you cancel them, it is same number. But at the same time, by multiplying numerator and denominator with number 2 in this particular case, we're getting the denominator as 24, which is the requirement, right? We want to have the denominator of these numbers as 24, right? Similarly, 3 by 8 can be expressed as 3 times 3 divided by 8 times 3, that is equal to 9 by 24. You see, now you have two numbers, both are having 24 as the common denominator, right? So 5 by 12 plus 3 by 8 can be written as 10 by 24 plus 9 by 24, right? Now in this particular case, you can say that the denominator is same, that is 24. Once the denominator is same, the denominator of the resultant number is going to be the common denominator, right? And the numerator can be obtained by adding the numerators of both the numbers. It means numerator can be obtained by adding these two numbers 10 and 9, and denominator is the common denominator, that is 24. So let's write that. So 10 by 24 plus 9 by 24 can be written as 10 plus 9 divided by 24. 10 plus 9 is 19, right? Divided by 24. To answer the question, 5 by 12 plus 3 by 8 equal to 19 by 24, right? Now let's learn about additive inverse. What does it mean by additive inverse? Let's add 5 by 12 and minus 5 by 12, right? It means it can be written as 5 by 12 plus minus 5 by 12, and we want to find what is the resultant number, resultant rational number, right? As you see here, the denominator is same in this case for both the rational numbers, 12, right? It means The numerator of the resultant number is going to be obtained by adding the numerators of both the numbers, that is 5 and minus 5, we want to add them, and denominator is going to be the common denominator. So it means 5 by 12 plus minus 5 by 12 can be written as 5 plus minus 5 divided by 12, right? The numerator is obtained by adding these two numbers, and denominator is 12, that is common denominator, right? We can write 5 plus minus 5 as 5 minus 5, meaning when you multiply plus and minus, it becomes minus. That's why it can be written as 5 minus 5 divided by 12. And we know 5 minus 5 is 0. 0 divided by 12. 0 by anything is 0, right? It means we can say 5 by 12 plus minus 5 by 12 is equal to 0, right? Now, the point you have to note here is if sum of two rational numbers is 0, as you have seen in this particular case, one rational number is called additive inverse of other number. Okay, that is the definition of additive inverse. If sum of two rational numbers is 0, one rational number is called additive inverse of other rational number. It means minus 5 by 12 is additive inverse of 5 by 12, right? Meaning when you add minus 5 by 12 to 5 by 12, you have got the resultant number as 0. Similarly, I can say 5 by 12 is additive inverse of minus 5 by 12, right? When you add 5 by 12 to minus 5 by 12, you are getting 0 as the answer, right? That's why this particular number is additive inverse to this. So when you want to generalize, you can say that minus a by b, which is a rational number, is an additive inverse or the additive inverse of a by b, right? Minus a by b is additive inverse of a by b, or a by b is the additive inverse of minus a by b, right? Now let's learn about additive identity. Let's add 2 by 3 and 0. We know 2 by 3 is a rational number. 0, you can say it's a whole number or it's a integer. But at the same time, we said that every integer can be expressed as a rational number, right? It means 0 is also a rational number. So 2 by 3 plus 0 can be written as 2 by 3 plus 0 by 3. Of course, you can write any number here, but for simplicity reason, you can write it as 0 by 3, right? I can write it as 0 by 5, 0 by 8, it doesn't matter. But 2 by 3 plus, since the denominator is same, since denominator is 3 here, we want to keep denominator 3 only here so that, the addition process is fairly simple, right? 2 by 3 plus 2 by 3 is what we have to find. Since the denominator is same, the denominator of the resultant number is going to be the same number, that is 3. And the numerator is going to be obtained by adding the numerators of both the numbers. It means you have to add 0 and 2 or 2 and 0 to get the numerator of the resultant number. And the denominator is the same number, that is the common denominator, right? Now 2 by 3 plus 0 by 3 equal to 2 plus 0 divided by 3. That is 2 by 3. What you have learned now, 2 by 3 plus 0 is 2 by 3. I can say that a by b plus 0 equal to a by b. If a by b is a rational number, when I add 0 to it, I'll get the same number, a by b. Sum of a rational number and 0 is equal to the rational number itself, right? That's what we have seen. 2 by 3 plus 0 is 2 by 3. A by b plus 0 is a by b. 5 by 4 plus 0 is 5 by 4. So what you have learned, sum of a rational number and 0 is equal to the rational number itself, right? It means it is not changing the identity of the rational number. When you add 0 to a rational number like 2 by 3, it is not changing its identity. It is retaining its identity. It is, after addition also, 2 by 3 is remaining as 2 by 3, right? It's not changing. That's why 0 is called additive identity. When you add 0 to any of the number, the identity of that number is not changing. That's why 0 is called additive identity. Please note this. Subtraction of rational numbers. Let's subtract 3 by 5 from 6 by 5. 3 by 5 is a rational number and 6 by 5 is also a rational number. We want to subtract 3 by 5 from 6 by 5. That can be written as 6 by 5 minus 3 by 5, right? We want to find what is the resultant rational number when you subtract 3 by 5 from 6 by 5, right? Can I write 6 by 5 minus 3 by 5 as 6 by 5 plus minus 3 by 5, right? You see here I have written plus and this is minus. When you multiply these two, plus and minus, what you have is minus. So it is essentially equal to 6 by 5 minus 3 by 5, right? Whatever we have written here, 6 by 5 plus minus 3 by 5 is exactly equal to this particular number, this particular expression, 6 by 5 minus 3 by 5, right? Can I say that subtracting 3 by 5 from 6 by 5 is equal to adding minus 3 by 5 to 6 by 5? That's what we have written here, right? Subtracting 3 by 5 from 6 by 5 is essentially equal to adding minus 3 by 5 to 6 by 5, right? So what we have done here, instead of subtracting 3 by 5 from 6 by 5, we are adding the additive inverse of 3 by 5, that is minus 3 by 5 to 6 by 5. You have learnt about additive inverse, right? When you add 3 by 5 and minus 3 by 5, what you get is 0. When you add two rational numbers, okay, if the resultant rational number is 0, then those two rational numbers can be called additive inverse of one to other, right? In this particular case, I can say 3 by 5 and minus 3 by 5 are additive inverse. For example, minus 3 by 5 is additive inverse of 3 by 5, or 3 by 5 is additive inverse of minus 3 by 5, right? So instead of subtracting 3 by 5 from 6 by 5, what we have done is we are adding the additive inverse of 3 by 5 to 6 by 5, right? It has become addition problem now. We started with a subtraction problem, but now it has become an addition problem. There, instead of subtracting 3 by 5, we are adding minus 3 by 5, which is the additive inverse of 3 by 5. Please note this. So I can now say that 6 by 5 plus minus 3 by 5 is what? Right? It is an addition problem, and you see here the denominator is same, right? It means the numerator of the resultant number can be obtained by adding the numerators of both the numbers, right? 6 and minus 3, and denominator is the common denominator. It means 6 by 5 plus minus 3 by 5 is going to be 6 plus minus 3 divided by 5, right? This can be written as 6 minus 3 divided by 5, that is equal to 3 by 5, right? So to answer the question, 6 by 5 minus 3 by 5 is equal to 3 by 5. Got it? Let's see another problem. Subtract 3 by 4 from 5 by 6. You have two rational numbers, 3 by 4 and 5 by 6. We want to subtract 3 by 4 from 5 by 6. That can be written. Now you see additive inverse of 3 by 4 is minus 3 by 4, right? It means when you add 3 by 4 and minus 3 by 4, you get the answer as 0. That's why additive inverse of 3 by 4 is minus 3 by 4, right? Now we said that subtracting 3 by 4 from 5 by 6 is equivalent to adding minus 3 by 4 to 5 by 6, right? So instead of subtracting 3 by 4 from 5 by 6, what we are going to do is we are going to add minus 3 by 4 to 5 by 6. Here minus 3 by 4 is an additive inverse of 3 by 4, right? That's why we say 5 by 6 minus 3 by 4 is equal to 5 by 6 plus minus 3 by 4. We want to find what is the resultant rational number. As you see here, the denominators are not same. In the earlier case, denominators are same, right? Though it is an additional problem, in the addition problem, we look at denominators, right, first. So since denominators are different, what we have to do is we have to get the LCM of the denominators of both the numbers. Meaning we have to get LCM of 6 and 4. So to do that, what we do is we write multiples of these two numbers, right? Multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, and so on, right? That list goes on. Similarly, multiples of 6 are 6, 12, 18, 24. Now, if you look at this, it is 4 times 1, 4 times 2, 4 times 3, 4 times 4, 6 times 1, 6 times 2, 6 times 3, 6 times 4, and so on, right? Now you see what is the common multiple. 12 is a common multiple, and then 24 is another common multiple. But what we want is least common multiple, right? That is the LCM. So that is 12. So we can say that least common multiple of 4 and 6 is 12. So as per this, the denominator of the resultant number is going to be 12. Before writing the denominator and numerator, what we have to do further is we have to express each number so that their denominator is going to be equal to LCM. In this particular case, it has to be 12. It means we have to write, or we have to express 5 by 6 as a number which has denominator 12, and minus 3 by 4 as a number which has denominator 12. For that, what we do is we multiply numerator and denominator of 5 by 6 with 2. The reason for doing that is, when you multiply 6 with 2, you get denominator 12, right? And to maintain the equality of the number, we are multiplying both the numerator and denominator, right? So that if you want, you can cancel them. So 5 times 2 is 10 and 6 times 2 is 12. Now you have expressed 5 by 6 as 10 by 12, which has got denominator 12. Similarly, we can express minus 3 by 4 as minus 9 by 12. For that, what we are doing, we are multiplying both the numerator and denominator with the same number, that is 3. 4 times 3 is 12, and minus 3 times 3 is minus 9, right? Now you have two numbers, 10 by 12 and minus 9 by 12. So 5 by 6 plus minus 3 by 4 can be written as 10 by 12 plus minus 9 by 12, right? I have replaced 5 by 6 with 10 by 12, and I have replaced minus 3 by 4 with minus 9 by 12, right? Since now both the denominators are same, that is equal to 12, the denominator of the resultant number is going to be the common denominator, that is 12, and numerator of the resultant number is going to be obtained by adding the numerators of both the numbers. So let's add the numerators of both the numbers. 10 plus minus 9, and denominator is going to be 12. So 10 plus minus 9 is 10 minus 9, and denominator is 12. It is kept as is. 10 minus 9 is 1, and 12 is kept as is. That's why 10 minus 9 by 12 is 1 by 12. So to answer the question, 5 by 6 minus 3 by 4 is 1 by 12, right? Multiplication of rational numbers. Let us multiply 7 by 5 by 3 by 2. Here both the numbers you have are rational numbers, 7 by 5 and 3 by 2. So we want to multiply that. It means it can be written as 7 by 5 times 3 by 2, right? We want to get what is the resultant rational number. Please note that product of two rational numbers is equal to product of their numerators divided by product of their denominators. It means 7 by 5 times 3 by 2 can be written as 7 times 3 divided by 5 times 2. We are multiplying the numerators and we are multiplying the denominator separately, and their ratio is the resultant number. right? Product of two rational numbers is equal to product of their numerators divided by product of their denominators. That's what we have done, right? 7 and 3 are numerators and 5 and 2 are denominators. That's why 7 by 5 times 3 by 2 is 7 times 3 divided by 5 times 2. 7 times 3 is 21 and 5 times 2 is 10. That's why 7 by 5 times 3 by 2 equal to 21 by 10. Right? Now let's learn about multiplicative inverse. We have learned about additive inverse earlier. We want to learn about multiplicative inverse now. Let us multiply 7 by 5 by 5 by 7. It can be written as 7 by 5 into 5 by 7. We want to find what is the resultant rational number, right? We said that product of two rational numbers is equal to product of their numerators divided by product of their denominators. So it means 7 by 5 times 5 by 7 can be written as 7 times 5 divided by 5 times 7, right? If you see, I can cross these two and I can cross these two also. It means in all the cases I have 1s. 1 times 1 divided by 1 times 1, that is equal to 1 by 1, that is equal to 1. As you see here, 7 by 5 times 5 by 7 is equal to 1, right? If product of two rational numbers is 1, then one rational number is multiplicative inverse of other number. Please note this definition. If product of two rational numbers is 1, then one rational number is called multiplicative inverse of the other rational number, right? In this particular case, I can say that 7 by 5 is multiplicative inverse of 5 by 7, or 5 by 7 is a multiplicative inverse of 7 by 5, right? So when you generalize it, you can say that A by B is multiplicative inverse of B by A. What we have done here, in the case of multiplicative inverse, what happens is the numerator becomes denominator, right? Numerator of one rational number becomes denominator of the other rational number, and denominator of a given rational number becomes the numerator of other rational number, right? That's why A by B is multiplicative inverse of B by A, right? The next thing we want to learn is multiplicative identity. Let's multiply 7 by 5 by 1. We can write it as 7 by 5 times 1 by 1, right? 1 is an integer that can be written as 1 by 1 so that it becomes a rational number, right? All integers are rational numbers, all natural numbers are rational numbers, all whole numbers are rational numbers. That's what we learned. So 7 by 5 times 1 by 1 is what we have to find, right? We know that product of two rational numbers is product of their numerators divided by product of their denominators, right? It means 7 by 5 times 1 by 1 is going to be 7 times 1 divided by 5 times 1, right? So it is equal to 7 by 5. So what you have learned now, 7 by 5 times 1 is 7 by 5, right? And I can say that A by B times 1 equal to A by B. If A by B is a rational number where A and B are integers and B is not equal to 0, then A by B times 1 is equal to A by B, right? So the point you have to note here is if product of a rational number and 1 is the rational number itself. Sorry, the product of rational number and 1 is the rational number itself. That's what we have learned, right? 7 by 5 times 1 is 7 by 5. A by B times 1 is A by B. In that case, 1 is called multiplicative identity. It means by multiplying a rational number such as 7 by 5 with 1, nothing is changing, right? It means identity of this particular rational number is remain the same. That's why 1 is called multiplicative identity. Please note this. When you multiply a by b with 1, nothing has changed. You got a by b as is, as the answer. That's why, since the identity of this particular rational number is maintained while multiplying with 1, the 1 is called multiplicative identity. Please note this. Division of rational numbers. Let's divide 3 by 5 by 4 by 5. Here 3 by 5 is a rational number and 4 by 5 is also a rational number, right? Let's divide 3 by 5 by 4 by 5. That can be written as 3 by 5 divided by 4 by 5. And we want to find what is the resultant rational number, right? You see, multiplicative inverse of 4 by 5 is 5 by 4, right? It means when you multiply 4 by 5 and 5 by 4, what you get is 1 as the answer, right? You multiply 4 by 5 with 5 by 4, then what you get is 1. That's why you can say that 4 by 5 is multiplicative inverse of 5 by 4, or 5 by 4 is multiplicative inverse of 4 by 5, right? With the help of multiplicative inverse, we can change the division problem to multiplication problem. How? We can say that division of 3 by 5 by 4 by 5 is equivalent to multiplication of 3 by 5 by 5 by 4. You see, this 4 by 5 and 5 by 4 are multiplicative inverse of each other, right? 4 by 5 is multiplicative inverse of 5 by 4 and 5 by 4 is multiplicative inverse of 4 by 5. Now, instead of dividing 3 by 5 by 4 by 5, what we are going to do is we are going to multiply 3 by 5 by 5 by 4, which is multiplicative inverse of 4 by 5, right? So let me write 3 by 5 divided by 4 by 5 now as 3 by 5 times 5 by 4. And we want to get what is the resultant rational number, right? We have learned that product of two rational numbers is equal to product of their numerators divided by product of their denominators. Now this is a multiplication problem, right? We want to find the product of 3 by 5 and 5 by 4. So what we have to do is we have to find the product of their numerators 3 and 5 so that it becomes numerator of the resulting rational number. And when you find the product of denominators 5 and 4, you get the product of their denominators as the denominator of the resultant rational number, right? It means I can write 3 by 5 times 5 by 4 as 3 times 5 divided by 5 times 4, right? 3 times 5 divided by 5 times 4. We have taken product of the numerators, that is 3 times 5, and we have taken product of the denominators 5 times 4, right? So 3 times 5 divided by 5 times 4, what I can do is I can cancel this 5 and this 5 with 1, right? What I have done, I have divided both numerator and denominator with 5, right? So the resultant number you have is 3 by 4. So to answer the question, 3 by 5 divided by 4 by 5 is equal to 3 by 4, right? To do this division process, what we have used is multiplicative inverse of one of the numbers, right? That is 4 by 5. We have used multiplicative inverse of 4 by 5 so that instead of dividing 3 by 5 with 4 by 5, what we have done is we have multiplied 3 by 5 by 5 by 4, right? I hope you like the video. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel Learn to Score. Thank you.